Hello and welcome to Tarot Your Truth with me, Jade Indigo. I thought it would be fun today to talk about my my tarot decks and why I have what I have. As I've discussed in my previous videos, I've been learning tarot for less than 3 months, but I have accumulated a few decks. And the thing is about the decks that I own, there typically is a reason that I own them. I don't tend to buy decks just for the sake of it. And so I thought it'd be fun to go through today the decks that I have and not do a complete walkthrough, but just talk about why I have them and go through all of them. So I hope you enjoy this. Again, anything that I talk about is my own opinion. This is all just about my tarot journey. So if there's something that you disagree with or don't like, please feel free to leave it at the door or send me a message. I'd love to build a community, find my tarot tribe, and I can only do that if people. I guess if I'm putting out content that people like, then that's great. I don't know anyone who reads tarot in real life, so I'd really love to be able to talk about it. I mean, anytime we have a new passion about something, I don't know about you, but I love to be able to chat about it with people. It's something that you love, and it's hard to talk to people who don't know anything about it, or who still have a lot of superstition around tarot in particular. And so I would absolutely love it if you shared with me. Anyway, so I'll go through the first set of decks. So I have one set of decks that feels very earthy to me for a number of reasons. All of the decks, like I said, I don't buy decks just to collect decks. I won't keep a deck if I don't think I'm going to use it. So my first tarot deck I talked about in my first video, which was the Nova deck, which I had purchased about 15 years ago, and I never got along with, and so I passed that on. My daughter has it. I know some people really love that deck, and I love actually being able to see so many people whose first tarot deck is that deck, and so many people just absolutely adore it. I think that's fantastic. I love that there are so many there's so many decks out there that everybody is bound to find something. I think it would be a really boring world if we all loved the same things. And it's such a cute deck. I really do love it. I want what I wish. So deck creators, please make me a deck that has the backing of the Tarot Nova, but just in a bigger size, and maybe just change the fronts. That's just for me. You don't need to make it for anyone else. That's okay. I'm just kidding, of course. But I do find it super cute. Which is why I never got rid of it, right? I don't typically hang on to things like that for a long time without, if I'm not going to use it. But it was just so cute, and I really loved it. But I just found that I couldn't use it. So it's fine. My daughter really enjoys it, actually, and she's just started to learn as well. And maybe now that school is done, she'll be getting into it a little bit more. But so hopefully there will be someone in my real life that I'll be able to share this with. Anyway, so back to the decks. I have collected quite a few. This set of decks here that I have put out, so this is the Wild Unknown, right? Everyone knows it. I I really love this deck. I don't know why, it just speaks to me. I think it's a combination of the artwork. It's just line drawings. Most of the deck is, or a good portion of the deck is just black and white, but then you have cards, you know, like this that just have that pop of color. And that one is the Daughter of Swords, the Hierophant. How perfect is that? The Lovers. I have mixed feelings about this card, actually. I understand why they used it. I think it's perfect from the respect of, you know, Canadian geese bond for life, and so that speaks to me of the Lovers. But as a Canadian living in an area where geese are always here, I really can't stand them. They poop out their body weight every 15 minutes or something. Like, it's just insane. Anyway, not here to talk about geese, but I just really love this deck. I find it, the readings that I get with it, I find that they are in your face, right? Like I find them very, what am I trying to say? They're not like poetic, they're just very direct. At least that's my experience with it. The Mystic Fairy Tarot I really love as well. I got this, I didn't think that I would, and I had originally planned to pass it on. I had purchased a bundle of tarot decks, and this one was part of it. And in the end, I decided to open it because I figured that if I don't like it, then again, my daughter, I think my daughter will love it. But I really, really do like it. I may still share this with my daughter, actually. So I really love it. I wish it was borderless. I thought about trimming it, and I actually did try trimming. Actually, I thought about it enough to actually take one of the extra cards that came with it and trim it, but I did not like how it turned out. I find that the backs really do benefit from the border, so I did not do it. All I did was edge it in a beautiful green. That's better in the light. Okay. So this one is just more gentle. The messages I get are just sort of positive, more gentle, even on the tougher cards. You know, not that it's not all unicorns and rainbows. It does have some tougher messages, but it's just the way that those messages come across to me is a little bit more gentle. So when I've had a really rough time with things, I don't necessarily want to be given a message in as direct a manner as the Wild Unknown, so I have used this one. The next deck I adore. This is the newest one in this collection. I've only gotten this, I've only had this for the past week or so. So this is the Hidden Realms. There's the backs. So this actually, I love the backs because I don't know why, but it kind of looks like a face to me. You know, the eyes, the eyebrows. I don't know. Maybe I'm just seeing things, but I love it. So this one is also Fae, right? Just like the Mystic Fairy, sorry. But the artwork is so different in this one. This is the only deck in my collection that I feel like I actually want to pathwork with. Not just that I want to pathwork with, but I feel that I can pathwork with. The people, you know, the Fae that are in here, I'll just call them people, just, you know, they look real. Like, they look like they could just, even the animals, it just looks like I could just jump in there with no problem. I don't know what it is, but I adore this deck. Whoa. Okay, having a hard time here. This card is crazy. Wow. They both look so serene there. Yeah, so I don't know. I just love this so much. Five of Swords. Look at her expression. Anyway, there's only one card in this deck that I really dislike, and I think I've shown him before. Oh, here it is. Oh my goodness, I just can't. It's kind of this is the Magician. When I first saw this card, I thought maybe it would be the Devil, but no, it's the Magician, and it just, I don't know, it's like it makes me think of, you know, maybe it's like 70s porn or something. I don't know. Okay, so I adore this deck, and it does, again, it gives me a completely different feeling from these other decks. And the last one in this group is the Wild Unknown, and I have trimmed this deck because the cards were just too big for my hands. I couldn't shuffle them, and I was having such a hard time shuffling them and working with them, and I found that the borders really detracted from things for me, so I trimmed it. It turned out pretty well. I love it. Again, it is very different. Ooh. There's your Three of Swords, or Three of Arrows in this case. It speaks to me in a completely different way than the other decks. So that's why I have those. All right, let's move these ones out of the way. If I can do that without knocking other things over. Okay, I've shown this one before, so again, I go for I love different things in my decks and different artwork. This one here I've shown before. This is the Tarot de la Nuit, and this is the one that started me back on the started me on the tarot journey. That one I find kind of iffy, but this one reminds me of Daenerys from Game of Thrones a little bit. But I just really loved the photorealism and their modern take on some of the cards. So here, look at this one, for example. It's the Hanged Man. Clearly it's not a man. It's well, I shouldn't say that actually. Not 100% sure. It's a fairly androgynous figure, but it's a different take on it, right? Like, she's looking down at that rose. Like, she's really truly trying to find a different perspective. The Devil. The Queen of Cups. A lot of these cards just speak to me, and it's not even just the positive cards, you know, like here's one of my favorite cards as well, Temperance. Even the cards with the more negative, like, I just find they just grabbed me, right? Look at that Tower. Love it. Anyways, I've shown that deck before, so I will not go through that anymore. So it's more of a, I don't know, is it called photorealism? I'm not sure. I love more historical decks, so let's look at that. So of course we have the RWS, and we have the Morgan Greer, and pardon my reach, and we have the Gilded Tarot. I know I've spoken before about, I think in my first video, how I really dislike this deck. Sorry, and I should clarify that, because I don't know that I dislike the deck so much as I just dislike the artwork. I find that it doesn't work for today, for today's world. In a lot of respects, I just don't like it, but I can appreciate it for what it is. I just, all that yellow. But, you know, I can certainly appreciate the symbolism and whatnot, and I won't get rid of this deck. At the most, I might pass it on to my daughter, but I certainly keep this as a study deck for when I need to refer to the Rider-Waite-Smith deck in particular. And also, to be fair, you know, and I don't like some of the symbolism in here. Like this card frankly freaks me out with the angelic figure, and I understand why. I understand the symbolism around it, and you know how it can sort of watch over them, but can't affect anything because they have free will and that kind of thing. I understand that, and I can appreciate that about it. I just prefer not to work with this particular artwork. Not when I have these two. So this one, the Morgan Greer, again, I think I've shown this one before, so I won't even take it out of the little baggie. I love it. Yes, that one does have yellow, but it is a very different yellow to my eyes than what is in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. Oh, also, to be fair, I have not looked at any of the other Rider-Waite-Smith cards in person. So I know that there are some where the colors are changed, such as, you know, I think the Universal Waite deck, the so-called Dirty Pam, I'm not sure why it's called that, the original Waite deck. I think there are quite a few. The Radiant Spirit, Radiant Wise. I'm not 100% sure. So, but I've not purchased any of those just because I think they're still very similar to this, and until I see one of those in person, I probably won't be purchasing one of those. Of course, I always reserve the right to change my mind. The Gilded Tarot is very much a Rider-Waite-Smith clone, and I love it. I just find the artwork so lovely. The colors so lovely. I love this card. And so that's what I work with. I can totally appreciate that some people may not like this deck. Some people may way prefer the Rider-Waite-Smith. I know people that only have one deck, and that is a Rider-Waite-Smith, and they will not ever get another. So they say that's fine. There's something for everyone. I don't have any issues with that at all. So I just love it. So those are the sort of originals, I guess, in my collection. I don't know if originals is the right word, but you know what I mean. Okay. Speaking of originals, and I have talked about this one before, so I'll just show it very quickly. But I love historical. I just love historical anything, actually. I love learning about history, and I have loved, learning about the more historical decks. So this is the Etruria, Minchiate, Etruria. I love it. I remember, I don't have another Marseille style. Oh, actually, sorry, that's not true. I have the very modern tattoo tarot, of course, which is also a Marseille style pip deck, which is what the Marseille style pip decks are based on. Some of the historical ones like this. I remember, growing up in Italy and playing cards, and this is what the cards looked like, and also, like the more Marseille style that you see, the Jodorowsky and the CBD, those kinds of decks, which I don't own at this point. So when I came to tarot and I saw that that's what the tarot decks were based on, I was just, I just thought it was pretty fun, pretty interesting. So that's some more historical deck. And again, I can't wait to get more into this. I'm trying to play with the decks in more of sustained style, like actually take one or two decks and just use them exclusively for a bit, just so I get to know them a little bit more, rather than just use one day, another day, that kind of thing. So that's why it's taking me a little bit of time to get through back through some of these. I love the tattoo tarot deck. There's the back. I don't know why, I just really do. I don't have tattoos. I haven't felt the need to get one. I'm not opposed to them. I just haven't felt the need to. But I just love this deck. I don't know. This is actually one that I did try to rifle shuffle, and it's got quite a bow to it, which is kind of annoying. I don't know why some of them are upside down. Anyways, that gives me a different thing to work with. Okay, this deck was one that really got me into working with. It kind of got me through my tarot year, to be honest with you. This is the Nicoletta Ceccoli deck, and I adore this deck. At first, I still find it a little bit creepy. I do find it a little bit creepy, but in a good way. This devil just cracks me up. It actually made me laugh out loud the first time I saw it. Like, he's spanking the girl. Like, how how perfect is that for the meaning of the devil? Anyway, it's a toy. It's in her imagination, so she's really doing it to herself and all of that. Anyway, I adore this deck, and I found this deck. I thought at first, when I first got it, I thought, I'm not sure how I'm going to be able to use it. But I found that it was actually pretty amazing for me. There's the Magician on shadow working and looking at some of the tougher experiences. So what I did do, actually, because I did not know that, again, this was one of the first decks that I had, and I did not know what the major arcana were according to the numbers, so I just wrote it in on the bottom. Okay, I know some people will probably go, blasphemy, but no, that works for me. There's another one. The Moon. Strength. I find that for all that it looks at first glance like it would be either not usable or just really sugar coated, it actually really isn't. It's actually quite powerful. It's kind of like a fist in a velvet glove. And I adore it. This will be one that will stay in my collection, and I want to use it until it literally falls apart. So that's that one. Another deck that really surprised me, because I did not know. it really surprised me that I would actually like it, and that is my Tarot Maha. This isn't really my art style, or I didn't think it was, but I adore this deck. This is just, oh, it's become one of my favorite decks. Wow, it's just, it really did shock me, which is awesome, right? Like, I love that. Justice. I love it. This is another one that I want to use until it falls apart. This deck and learning about, I forget his first name, the artist whose last name is Maha, inspired me to look, research his art, like the Art Nouveau style a little bit more. And I'm still, in general, I'm not super odd with this art style, but I don't know, this deck just gets me in the heart. I know a lot of people, I won't go through all these cards because a lot of people, many people have reviewed this deck, but I just, it evokes such a response in me. I love it so much. Okay, that's that one. Another surprising deck for me. I love surprises, by the way. Did I tell you that? Is my Game of Thrones tarot. Now, I love Game of Thrones. Okay, so if you don't watch Game of Thrones, or you don't like it, then this deck may not be for you. Because I love Game of Thrones, I was gonna get this regardless of whether it was just a collector's item, and I fully expected it to be just a collector's item. But I did a couple of readings with it, and I found it fantastic. Actually, it reads really well, and when I looked through each card, I think they did a fantabulous job of picking the characters for the cards. This one is maybe the one that I disagree with. I think there was another much better choice. But I just I found they did such an amazing job. I know that the person who wrote the book, and I don't have the book easily reachable, but I'm pretty sure she has made many other tarot decks, and so she made sure that the artists use the proper images for the card. And again, if you're not into Game of Thrones, then this is going to be hard, because one of the things that makes this deck so amazing is that is their choice for the character for the card. Arya for death, like, there is no one more perfect for this card. Nobody. They just did such a great job. Also, this card, again, the Devil, Ramsay, there is nobody more suited for this card. So they did an amazing job with that. Now, I don't know if you can see that here. Oh yeah, there we go. You can see that the card is not smooth. It does have a bit of a, on the back as well, although it's slightly different on the back. It's just lined, whereas here, it kind of looks like there's a bit of a crosshatch pattern. I think this is called the linen finish, and I I love it. I love how it shuffles. I love how it reads. I love looking at it, and I just love it. And it really surprised me, and I think that's, I couldn't have asked for better. Okay. Going along the lines of decks that really surprised me, and again, that is different art style than what I've shown before, is my Crow Tarot. There's the backs. Now this deck was not an impulse purchase. I was watching the creator on Instagram, and all the posts, you know, as she was creating this deck, and some of the readings that she was doing. And this is the one card that kind of, you know, I think I talked about it before. I'm not a big bird person. Birds kind of freak me out, to be honest with you. And I think they have ever since I was a child, and I remember watching an Alfred Hitchcock movie with crows or ravens or something. But I don't know what it was. It's a bit collagey. And again, collage is not really my thing at all, actually. And birds aren't really my thing, but for some reason it really worked for me in this deck, and I decided to give it a try, and it is quickly, again, becoming one of my favorites. I love the readings that it gives. Yeah, it's really become one of my favorite decks. I love how it reads. This card is a bit freaky too, with the heart. You know, it's Waite Smith based again, which is fine. It's, you know, it's cute that the things that are in the cups are appropriate for the birds. There's the tower. Anyway, I won't go through it all. If you'd like me to do a walkthrough, I can certainly do that. But I love it, and again, it was another surprise, but another very different art style than the rest. Okay, I have a couple of decks that I'm going to put together here. One is the Joie de Vivre, and one is my Shadowscapes. So what I like about these are, again, a different art style than any of the other decks that I've shown you, and they're similar but different. Again, so the Shadowscapes is, oh, it's just ethereal. It's kind of an airy deck for me. I love their use of color. I love everything about it. I don't love a couple of things that bother me. Check out this card. Look at the borders. It's much thicker on one side than on the other. That irritates me, takes away from it. I had debated trimming this deck, and I was sort of flip-flopping back and forth, but then I saw some of those mistakes on the borders, and I think I would really like it better without the borders, so I think I'm going to do that. I do wish the cards were bigger. There's the Hierophant. There's the tree. I wish the cards were bigger. There's so much happening in these cards that you almost need a magnifying glass. And I know I'm not the only person to say that. I've heard that comment on quite a few people. How perfect is that? Death is a phoenix. Love it, love it, love it. So I'll show this deck again once I trim it. now that I've had some experience with my Wild Unknown, I'm going to do that with this as well. Okay. So that's that one. The Joie de Vivre is almost similar, I want to say. And this is why. What's happening here? That is strange. Okay. I don't know what happened there. Okay. It reminds me, it's kind of like for me, this is kind of like a cross between the Shadowscape and the Chicoli deck. Because it's sort of that same sort of hand-drawn artwork, soft colors as the Shadowscapes, but it also has a bit of a creep factor like the Chicoli for me. And I'm not saying creepy in the way that you wouldn't be able to use this for children, or that children can use it. I think it'd be a fantastic deck. But it really does freak me out. I don't know what it is. I think part of it is the creatures on here. Here's an example. Come on, focus. There we go. Okay. Come on. Focus, focus. Much like the Dark Mansion Tarot. Here, let me grab a card from there. Their arms are very skinny compared to their bodies. They just are very, very odd to me, and the expressions on the faces and the faces themselves. Come on, focus. There we go. Are sometimes not in this card. This is the Ace of Wands. It's lovely. But I do find some of them really, really odd in a little bit of a creepy kind of way. I don't know. Just me. But I do love it. I love it. Now, she has, I love this card, the Death card. So this deck is by Paulina Cassidy, and there is a Paulina deck as well, and I had it in my Amazon cart for a while, and I decided to take it off because the artwork is very similar. The feeling, when I looked at some walkthroughs, the feelings it kind of gave me were very similar to this one, and I don't want to repeat. I want to actually use the decks that I have, and so yeah, so this is the one I'm going to stick with because I really like it. Okay. The next one is a watery deck, and that is my Mermaid Tarot. I love the backs on this. The backs actually, not that it sold me on the deck, but it certainly gave me the stronger push to buying the deck. I do love the images on the cards as well. You know, that's the Page of Wands. I love it. I do not know why some of these cards are upside down because I do not read reversals. Eight of Cups, perfect. The Lovers. That's such a powerful image. The Devil, wow. I haven't worked with this deck very much just yet. But I do look through the cards once in a while. I'm having a lot of fun getting to know the decks. Six of Wands. Very cool. The Tower. I don't know if this is supposed to be Atlantis. Just have a look. King of Pentacles. Very nice. The King of Swords. Very cold. The Moon. Love it. The Two of Wands. So it is a Rider-Waite Smith. Would you say it's a clone or just Rider-Waite Smith style? Not sure. This card, oh, the Three of Swords. Oh my goodness! Can you just say how powerful this card is? Oh, this is so bizarre about the different things. Love this card. The Page of Cups. The Five of Pentacles. Strength. Aw. The Five of Cups. Okay, I won't go through all the cards, but the Emperors, I'm just getting, sorry, I'm getting distracted because oh. Love, love, love this deck. All right. Put that there. All right. Another deck that I find gives me a totally different feeling than the other ones, which I love, is the Everyday Witch Tarot. I love it. I know she's coming out with I edge that in yellow to match the backs. I know that they are coming out with an Everyday Witch Oracle. I haven't hit buy yet because I do have quite a few Oracle decks. Well, by quite a few I mean 4. And I find that I think that's enough for me for right now, but I might change my mind. I haven't seen any of the images yet, so you never know. But what I really love about this deck is the modern interpretation of the Rider-Waite Smith deck. It's very Rider-Waite Smith, right? Like there's the Magician. You know, so you take the Rider-Waite Smith, you add some cats, you add some people in some striped leggings, which I adore, by the way. Come on, focus. Okay. You add some witchy hats, and you would think you would have something that's very kitschy, but this deck is amazing. I absolutely adore how they've taken the RWS and modernized it. There's so many images in here that just speak to, I mean, just look at that. The Page of Cups is an artist. He's a painter. How perfect is that? You know, the Knight of Wands off to battle a dragon. I just want it here. The Nine of Cups. It's just a more modern interpretation. The Nine of Pentacles. She's, you know, finally got the chance to relax. She's made it. She's gonna have her wine and cheese and enjoy. This one I love, I have to say, the Justice card. I just love so many of I love the take that they've, the take of the cards, and what they've done. So the Justice card. So first of all, the cats, let me say, the black and white cats on the scales, I think are hilarious. Come on, focus. There you go. Secondly, look at her face. She has one eye open, yo. She's not blind. She She will knock you upside the head if you need it. The Chariot I love as well. Again, it is a modern take, right? The other card I just wanted to show, which is also one of my favorites. So this is another one, the Hierophant. I adore that it's not some religious dude or some huge authority figure high up above, you know, seated high up above everyone else. She's a yoga teacher and she's at the same level as everyone else. I just adore it. And the one other card I just wanted to, it's a kick-ass queen seated on a dragon holding flowers. Let's see if I can find this one. I love this card. This is the Tower. Hell yeah, that tower is coming down. I knocked it. Look at the expression on her face. What are you gonna do about it? Love it. So I love this. I love this deck. It's not all love and light. It gives you some tough messages. But again, it's a totally different flavor than my other ones. I don't know why this keeps going out of focus. Okay, a few more. This one here, I have, it is completely different artwork than any of my other decks. And it is, this one is going to go to my daughter because the artwork is totally up her alley. This is the Revelations Tarot. I really like this. And it's kind of, you know what it does, and I've done an unboxing, so I won't talk too much about it, but other than to say, it sort of takes the struggle as to whether you should, you know, if it is a struggle for you, as to whether you should read reversals out of things, because it gives you both. It just depends how the card comes up. So the way that you read these cards is from the center point up. There you go. From the center point up, that is your upright position. If the card comes upside down, you don't have to think about the upside down meaning. You can actually just use your intuition as to what's happening in the card, right? So it's a lot easier to, you don't have to learn 156 meanings, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Because if the card comes up upside down, you can clearly see it's upside down because of the writing. And again, you just read it from halfway up. With the exception being the Hangman, which for the Hangman, you have to read the card from, in the upright position, you'd have to read it backwards, so you'd have to read it from the center down, right? Otherwise, he's straight up. I show that in my in the walkthrough, so I won't go through that here. Anyway, again, totally different artwork. I really like it a lot, but that one is going to be a gift for my daughter. Okay, just a couple more. So I have a couple here, which again are quite different. And one is the Prisma Visions, and the other one is the Witch's Tarot. The Witch's Tarot, I haven't had this one for long. I do like it. I haven't had much chance to work with it. I like that some of the cards, come on, focus, are quite real-like, I guess, is almost photographs. But then other cards, no, there's another one. I do like that. And then, but other cards are a little bit weird. Like that one, I don't know. if you're, okay, sorry, can I just say how much I hate telemarketers and scammers at that, not even just telemarketers. Anyway, I was talking about the Witch's Tarot. I do like it. I haven't had a chance to work with it much. I just got it. It's just some of the images are a little bit. I really like that. That's so sweet. Some of the images are just a little bit seem a little bit disjointed. Maybe is what I'm trying to say. I'm not sure why. Anyway, I do dislike the black borders. So I think this is one that I'm going to trim. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. I'll show it again once I do that. Okay. The Prisma Visions. I love one exercise that I have not done yet, and I really want to, actually, I just haven't had a chance, is that all the suits, apparently you can put them together. So you can see there's a 7, 8, and 9 of Pentacles. So if you put all the suits together in a line, it actually forms a complete picture. Woo. It would help if I was in frame. So I want to do that actually, and maybe I'll post a picture, because I really like this deck. I don't know what I didn't think I would, to be honest with you. But I do really like it. Oh. Okay, one of the things I want to talk about with both of these two decks. Okay. Oh. This was really frustrating for me, because there's those two decks. And here, let me move this back a little bit so that I can. Okay. So those are all now lined up. See how much smaller these two decks are than a regular size deck? They're not supposed to be. What I believed I was purchasing, and I bought them supposedly gently used on eBay. What I thought I was purchasing was the full-size deck. What came is not a full-size deck. What came, I believe, is a knockoff. I don't know, from wherever. It came in, actually, the package said it came from China when it finally did arrive, even though that is not what it said on eBay. Holy shit, that pisses me off. For a whole number of reasons. Not only just because it's not what I expected that I was purchasing, but because they're knockoffs. They more than likely, the creator of these decks did not get paid for these. This is just someone trying to make a quick buck. And so, my blood boils every time I think about it. And I have tried opening a complaint on eBay. So far, I've gotten no response, and I'm gonna keep trying. But please, I guess maybe I didn't do as good a job as I could have in reading the descriptions, but I truly did believe I was buying the real thing. Just like I said, gently used. I have purchased a gently used deck before. I just received this one, which is the Santa Muerte deck, gently used from someone in my city. With this one, I was able to. I purchased it from someone in person, so I was able to make sure it is what it is. But oh, my blood just boils about stealing and that kind of thing. Anyway, so please, I guess, take this as a public service announcement. Do take care when you're purchasing something online. Anyway, moving on to the next one. So the Santa Muerte deck, I won't go through this in detail because I have done a walkthrough. And so I'll go through every card in there. But this is another deck I completely adore and whose artwork is, again, completely different than the rest that I own. Oops, sorry about that. Okay. This deck is, I really like this deck. This is the Vice Versa Tarot. What I really like about this deck is, once again, you don't need to read reversals. Oh, I never noticed actually that giant snake there. Huh. Anyway, sorry, squirrel. I don't read reversals, and with this deck, it kind of takes that necessity away, just like the Revelations did, because you have the front of the card. It tends to be a daytime scene, and you're looking at, the typical Rider-Waite-Smith image. Oh, there's a snake there too. You could just see his tail. I don't know if his foot is on it. Okay, and then you turn it. So if it comes up backwards, then you see usually a nighttime scene, not always. Sometimes it's also by the day, but you're looking at a different perspective. You're looking at what he's looking at in some cases. So I really love that. Here is the Queen of Cups. Typical queen holding a large cup with a lid on it. She looks completely serene, and you turn it, and this is what you see. I haven't dug into all the symbolism on here. I'm not sure what the stork symbolizes, but so again, that's the nighttime. The Eight of Swords, typical scene, right? Blindfolded lady with some ropes around her, but her feet are free. And if only she could dare to move and potentially get some cuts, she could make her way out. And from the back, you see something a little bit different. The eagle there. There's the Three of Pentacles, right? The apprenticeship card. From the back. Maybe this is the wealthy patron. The Hanged Man, typical hangman. From the back, you see what he's looking at. Five of Cups, typical, person leaning over the, sort of crying over spilt milk kind of thing. From the back, he's leaving them behind. Well, not only is he, he doesn't see the rose behind him. Temperance. Typical. What does she see? Very cool. The Knight of Swords. The Seven of Swords, right? He's either a thief stealing some swords and having to leave two behind, or he's taking them back. And from the other side, slightly different. There's a little skull there. The Sun. What do you see from behind? There's the Eye of Horus. Some people there. The Wheel. From the back, there's the Magician. Interesting. So I haven't dug into this completely just yet. I've looked at all the cards, of course, but I really need to work with it a bit more and look into some of the symbolism. There's a hermit and some puppies. The moon has a face. Typical Eight of Wands, right? And then from the back, you get some, some stormy skies and Pegasus. So maybe trouble is fast approaching. Anyway, I won't go through all of them. That is enough for now. Again, if you would like me to do a full walkthrough, I'm happy to do that. I may do that anyways for some of these decks, just because I love them so much. And the last one, which I won't open or take out of the box because, again, I've done a walkthrough, is the Herb Crafter's Tarot. And again, very different artwork, right? This is all based, it sort of seems like this actually, all based on herbs and plants and how to use them. Okay, so I think that's it. I believe I went through my historical deck. I have this in the wrong spot, but I think I did. And if I didn't, at least I talked about it in another video, so I won't reopen that. But thank you very much for watching, and if you have any questions, please leave a comment below. I'd love to hear from you what your favorite decks are. Why do you collect the decks that you do? And what do you look for when you're purchasing a deck? Do you just purchase them just for collecting? Do you purchase them to use them? Do you purchase them to look at the artwork? I know there are a lot of people that that buy different decks for different reasons. Some people will only use a specific deck for a specific type of reading. Let me know. I'd love to hear. If you like what you see, please do feel free to go ahead and click on the doobly-doo down below, like and subscribe. And until next time, my friends, tarot your truth.